Hi, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to my channel. 3 months ago, I was made redundant and I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. But what I have done in the last 3 months is I have continued with a bit of freelancing work and I've dabbled in a couple of side businesses and started a new business as well. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to run through what's happened in the last 3 months. So for a bit of background, before I was made redundant, I was an operations manager. I was working part-time because I have a 2-year-old and I only have nursery 3 days a week. And I loved that job. I loved that job. I really liked the people, I enjoyed the work. I had a career path that me and my director had been working on. Everything was going wonderfully. And then I bought a new house for my daughter and myself, which I was really pleased about because single parent, I had managed to purchase a house. I took a week off to do some renovating because the house was a bit of a state. And then I went back to work a week after and basically got told that everyone in the company was at risk of redundancy. And in fact, we were all made redundant in the entire company. So end of May, I was then officially jobless. And that's when I had to kind of start and really try and find a way of bringing in some extra money. Now, back in COVID times, I had been made redundant again. This is a theme with my employed work, is I've been made redundant quite a few times now. So I went into freelancing and I freelanced for about 5 years. And then 2025, this operations management job came up, which I went for because it was part-time, and I got it, and that was great. But I did keep on one of my freelance clients that I'd had right from the very beginning. Because that freelance work didn't really require me to do office hours, I was able to work it around my employed job as well. So I was very lucky that my income didn't suddenly drop down to zero. I had that money coming in each month. That wasn't going to pay the bills, but it was enough. I also didn't get any redundancy pay either because I hadn't been with the company long enough to receive anything, so there wasn't that as a buffer either. For the first month of being made redundant, my main priority was find work. So I was applying to anything and everything I could possibly find, and these were employed jobs I initially started with. I was not hearing back from anyone. I've never had an issue finding work before, but the job market is completely different at the moment. And I'm sure lots of other people out there who are also applying for jobs find that you apply for so many and you don't hear back from anybody. And the same with recruitment agencies. I didn't hear back from anyone. So I ended up going down the freelance route and searching for more freelance jobs, thinking they're probably going to be a bit more flexible as well. I was even applying for full-time jobs, which I couldn't possibly do, but I wasn't hearing back from them either. So freelance searching was the route I went down. I was very, very lucky that at the kind of middle of June, I had secured a new freelance client, which I still have now. So I was very, very lucky. The contract was for 3 hours, 3 days a week, so 9 hours a week. So not masses. The wage is lower than what I've been used to, but it's something. So alongside the freelance work, I continued to look for other freelance work as well, but I also started to promote my candle and honey business a bit more. I'm not very good at self-promotion or marketing, so I've been pushing a bit more on there. I own a beeswax candle and honey business. My dad's a beekeeper, so I purchased the honey and the wax from him. I turn the wax into beeswax candles and I sell the honey, and I've been selling these at markets and online through a website. Alongside this, I also have an Etsy shop where I sell kind of lace and haberdashery type items. And May, I was also monetized on YouTube, so I had an extra little stream of income that I could also count towards that. So for May, I managed to make £810, which for a start was great. So that was through freelancing, new and old clients, a little bit of candle sales, a little bit of Etsy, and a little bit of YouTube. So month 2, I continued my efforts on trying to find additional freelance clients. My new client increased my hours slightly, so I'm now doing about 4 hours a day for 3 days a week, so about 12 hours a week, but not all the time. I've also put up a little bit of extra work with my original client that I had, so that was great. And I then reached out to a couple of previous clients I'd worked with a few years back, one that I knew was back from maternity leave. So that was another thing that I kind of worked on. I haven't secured any additional work, but they are aware that I'm looking, so if they come across something, they will contact me. Again, I started talking about my candle business a little bit more, so I made some sales there. I made some very small sales on Etsy. I had quite a good month on YouTube for my size of video, so that was a little bit extra as well, which was great. And for that month, I made £1,422.76, which again was great. Definitely an increase on May by about £500. Not replacing my original income by any means, but it is something and it is covering the bills. July was then also an even better month. I made £1,857.95 in total for July. And again, that was a mixture of the freelance clients, a little bit of YouTube ads, a little bit of Etsy. I didn't make any candle sales in July, but I did start advertising my new business, which is a children's workshop business. Originally it was going to be for adults, but summer holidays were coming up, so I thought, let's work on that. So I started offering sewing classes for children, and this is a mixture of private classes and public classes. The private ones I would go to the parents' homes, they'd have a group of children there. I teach them how to sew a felt bookmark that looks like a cat. And the same for the public classes. It's the same lesson, but these were usually individual children or pairs of children that would come and do the classes there. And because I'd started advertising in the July, I was taking payments in the July as well, and that brought in an extra £315. So that was really good because I didn't make any candle sales and barely anything on Etsy. So that money was a great extra hit. And then in August, I've continued to bring in more money for that kind of new side hustle as well. So little things that I've learned since being made redundant again, and things that have helped me is that you can have multiple streams of income and every little helps, but some of them are going to give you more than others. Etsy, I really don't advertise on Etsy. I wouldn't even know where to start because of the kind of niche that it is. And it's not something I'm particularly passionate about. It's an Etsy shop I've had open for years and years and years. And I'm basically selling off all of the stock that I've got. Once it's gone, and I will be closing that channel because it just isn't worth the effort if I'm bringing in £8.12 for a month. So that will be going eventually. I also have an Etsy shop for my candles, and it will only bring in sales in November, December time, and that is it. It's there all the time, but it just doesn't bring in any of the sales. I haven't done all of the figures yet for August because obviously we're still in August, but I did do I attempted to do a market in August. It's one that I did last year. Last year it brought in quite a large amount of money. That market was an absolute fail for me because I didn't even manage to get to my pitch because someone had parked in it. The whole thing was an absolute mess and I ended up going home. So that then kind of spurred me on to talk about my candle business a bit more, and some of my lovely viewers on here did purchase candles and honey and soaps and what have you, which was brilliant. So that will be added into August's money that I have earned. So that is something that I am learning, that you really do need to talk about your products and your businesses to let people know about it, and then to be able to get sales. If you keep it hidden, no one's going to know about it. When it comes to starting a new business, something to take into consideration is initial startup costs. I've got a video coming out next week about startup costs and how much I've earned from my workshop business. And because I had upfront costs, it's kind of skewed my kind of hourly profit, as it were. So it comes out really quite low. So as great as setting up this new extra business is, when you crunch all the numbers, you probably haven't made as much money as you had expected to, or that you thought you had made, because you've got all these upfront costs initially. It does unfortunately cost money to set up businesses, however large or small they are. But it was a really, really good testing phase, and it proved that my idea was something that people wanted. Parents wanted these activities for their children, especially during summer holidays. So I'm going to continue with that business and continue testing it in half term and see how that goes, and I can slowly expand into adult classes and other ideas I've got going. So with new business ideas, test, test, test. It might not work out the first time, but it doesn't mean it is a failure. Finally, the freelancing. I've got lots of videos on information on freelancing, but the biggest one on there, I think, is just putting your name out there and pitching to things and using local resources and also online resources to try and find clients. You could end up pitching to 10 different clients for things. It's the same as interviewing, really. But I am finding myself that freelance, or people who want to take on freelancers, are being more communicative to people pitching than what big normal employed jobs are doing, because I still haven't heard back from any of those, but I do continue to hear back from freelance roles that I had reached out to and pitched for. If you haven't freelanced before, do your research. There are tips and tricks and everything out about getting your first clients, and you need to build up a portfolio so that people have trust in you that you are going to do the work and are going to be good to work with. So overall, my first 3 months of being jobless, well, not jobless, being unemployed, have not been nearly as bad as I had expected them to. I have managed to cover all of my bills. I have made money, and it's pushed me into setting up this new business, which could be something quite successful. So that's great, and it means I've got another client as well. It's also helping me be a lot more flexible around my daughter and around my childcare. I'm making sure I'm only working on those 3 days that she's in nursery. Then the other days that I'm not working, my focus is on her, and I haven't got to juggle. I haven't got to feel guilty about working or feel guilty that I'm not working when I should be whilst I'm looking after her. So I personally have found this option of freelancing and side hustles much more flexible, much more suitable to my current lifestyle and life situation, which is great. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful or at least interesting. If you're someone that's in a similar situation and are unsure where to start, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight or a little bit of inspiration on what you could do if you find yourself in a similar position and you're about to lose your job. Or maybe you just want to do something a bit more flexible and not be working a 9 to 5 through normal employment. There are other options out there for making money. There is money out there to be made. It's just finding something that works for you. If anyone has got any questions, please pop them in the comments below. And equally, if anyone has any hints or tips that anyone would find useful in a similar situation, please also drop them below. I'm sure other people would love to read them. Thank you.